Hello, this is Aaron Mean of SG Gaming Info, and welcome to my video review of the PC version of Idea Factory International's Megadimension Neptunia V2. If you're looking for an in-depth look at this game's story, characters and features, please check out SG Gaming Info's review of the PlayStation 4 version of Megadimension Neptunia V2. While this review won't go in depth on the above mentioned topics, they will be mentioned. The main purpose of this review is to talk about the performance of the PC port. For those who don't know about Megadimension Neptunia V2 or the Neptunia franchise, the games are loosely based on the video game industry, with the game's four key characters Neptune, Vert, Noir and Blanc being humanoid versions of consoles. Neptune represents Sega, in particular the Sega Neptune, an unreleased Sega console. Vert represents Xbox, Noir represents PlayStation, and finally Blanc represents Nintendo. The four key characters each rule their own nations as CPU goddesses. As leaders of nations, the characters have the ability to use shares and activate HDD mode, a mode that greatly increases their power. Each goddess rules their nations differently, and the style of their nation is similar to the real-world version of the consoles they represent. Megadimension Neptunia V2 contains a massive story split into three parts, the first being Zero Dimension Z, the next being Hyperdimension Neptunia G, and the final part being Heart Dimension Neptunia H Trilogy Finale. The overall story told in the game is just about how important consoles are, and how you shouldn't abuse them. The game primarily focuses on greed of both developers and fans. Megadimension Neptunia V2 is also the darkest Neptunia game to date, with the game exploring some dark tones. Although the dark tones are balanced out with the franchise's trademark innuendo and video game humour. Gameplay-wise, the game is straightforward. To progress in the game, you must explore dungeons and take part in battles using the game's turn-based combat system. Megadimension Neptunia V2 contains two noticeable features in the form of road building and investment. Road building is an odd, if not borderline useless feature that involves you building roads to gain access to a dungeon. And investment involves using your money to improve the commercial, industrial and public relations of each nation. Leveling up each section offers new purchasable items, additional development items, and special events. Now, as I said, combat is turn-based, but how does it work? Well, like most modern JRPG turn-based combat systems, it involves action points, and performing attacks until you use up said action points. Combat in Neptunia V2 primarily relies on its combo system, which allows you to perform multiple quick attacks to fill your EXE meter, multiple power attacks to do damage, and multiple standard attacks to help slowly decrease the enemy's defense. Combat also features SP and EXE skills that drain either your EXE meter or a particular character's SP meter. You also have the opportunity to transform your character using HDD mode or next form. It is worth noting that some characters cannot transform. The combat also includes some new features. These include formation skills, break parts, multiple health bars for bosses, and giant battles. Formation skills involve moving two or more characters to a certain position and attacking together. Break parts involves breaking a piece of a monster's equipment to do additional damage. And finally, giant battles, which are infrequent once you get past the first story, involves fighting a giant monster. These monsters can only be fought using SP and EXE skills, and like all bosses, they have multiple health bars. Okay, that's enough of a quick look at the game. Let's talk about the PC port. My opinion of the port is relatively mixed. Now, my PC would be considered a low to medium powered PC, and so I could only push the game to 720p, although the game does support 1080p. However, even though my PC isn't that powerful, I was able to run the game at its highest graphical settings. Now, as I said, my opinion was mixed, so let's explore the issues. My first major issue is with the game's frame rate. Performance-wise, the game's frame rate likes to jump between 20 and 50 FPS, with the game running at its worst when exploring dungeons and fighting. Exploring dungeons was an unpleasant experience, as the frame fluctuations created a feeling of motion sickness, although it is worth noting that turning depth of field off did greatly reduce the fluctuations. My second major issue is the controls. If you want to play Megadimension Neptunia V2 with a mouse and keyboard, I wish you good luck, as the control scheme makes no sense. For example, turning the camera requires you to use the numpad instead of the mouse, and the action buttons are tied to O, K, I and L. If you wish to have a trouble-free experience, I recommend using the Xbox 360 controller, as the game seems to be built around the player using this input device. So, in conclusion, The PC version of Megadimension Neptunia V2 contains the same content as its PlayStation 4 counterpart, but on PC, the game suffers from some performance issues. So with that said, I give Megadimension Neptunia V2 on the PC a score of 6.5 out of 10, with the game's pro being the same gameplay as the PlayStation 4 version, and the game's cons being frame rate fluctuations and the fact the game is almost unplayable without a controller. Thank you for watching, please like, favourite and subscribe. For more gaming information please visit sggaminginfo.com, and don't forget to like our Facebook page at facebook.com/sggaminginfo, and follow us on Twitter at sggaminginfo.